Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross from PTCGRadio, and I'm back with another game I played on PTCGO, the official online program of the Pokemon trading card game. Now here I am again testing out my Seismitoad deck. I've already taken this out once against an Aromatisse deck, so go back and watch that if you haven't already. I've yet to do a full deck breakdown of this because I don't have a settled list. It is a list which is very much a work in progress, but I may do a work in progress deck breakdown because a lot of people have been requesting it. Now, despite playing a full Seismitoad, I once again don't start with one, and as a fun little side note, I've yet to actually play a game where I do start with a Seismitoad. But as I've said a few times, when you're testing these kind of games, and again I'm going second here and I've got no support at turn one, you want to test these kind of games. Going second, not having your ideal starter, having no support at turn one, or yeah, it's nothing, quite frankly. Because if you can get through and win these kind of games, if you can learn how to play from behind and win under less than ideal circumstances, then when you get into games where everything does go right and you do draw well, your job's a good one, because then it's going to be much easier to pull out that win. So you see my opponent is playing a fighting Garbodor deck. He's got the Landorus from Furious Fist down there, as well as a Garbodor. Now, the Garbodor's not really going to hurt me because I'm not playing any abilities here, but he's got a Seismitoad as well. So here we're seeing more of a general big basics than a full-on fighting deck. Although I strongly suspect he's just playing fighting, strong, and double colourless energy. And he's got the double colourless energy there on his Seismitoad. He hits Quaking Punch for 60, and I'm now locked out of trainers. All I can do there is play Burbank City Gym or Lysandre, not Lysander. And that's not really any good for me, but he ends me here, and I disagree with that. If he Quaking Punches this turn, he kills my Reshiram. All I've got then is a Mewtwo. Mewtwo takes a DCE. I don't have access to trainers. He knows I don't have a supporter, which means I've got to manually draw into my DCE or manually draw into 2 single energy just to get an attack off, and he's locking me out of trainers, so there's no muscle band, there's no laser, there's no nothing. So that's basically where he is at the moment. He's in a brilliant position to just sit there and use Seismitoad and win. But one of the big questions which I'm going to be asking through these videos with Seismitoad, etc., is when do you stop Seismitoad? Now, I draw into a Seismitoad there, and I've got a Juniper. So, because he end me. Now, I disagree with the end, because if he doesn't end me into stuff, he knows I've got nothing, I can just sit there and he's probably going to Seismitoad me for the win. As it is, I've now got an energy on Seismitoad, and I'm there going. Now, I've pretty much given up this Mewtwo at this point, unless I draw into a DCE, which I may do off the Colrus. The question is, does he just sit there and Seismitoad till I lose, or is he going to try and go more aggressive with his Landorus? Now, you see a Hawlucha there, but you don't see a Lucario, probably because I've got that Mewtwo down. But in the same way Lucario is quite... battery's running low, don't worry, I'll put the lead in. In the same way Lucario is weak to Mewtwo, Landorus is weak to Psychic, and I very, very much disagree with him stopping the Seismitoad there. I've got 1 energy on the field and no way to get rid of my Mewtwo without wasting a DCE. As it is, I've now got the energy on Seismitoad, I can play the Colrus. I've hit the laser and he's asleep. I've got the float stone to retreat the Mewtwo. Now I can stick up my Seismitoad doing 60 damage for Quaking Punch plus a 10 for poison. No Burbank, unfortunately. And now he's locked out of trainers. And he hits a Tails. And now he's got no way to retreat it. He can't play float stone, he can't play switch, he can't play escape rope. Which means I've now effectively got a free KO on that Landorus, and all he did was 50 damage to my Mewtwo and 30 to my Seismitoad. And you may notice the max potions that I play in this particular deck. Now I'm rolling. Annoyingly, I now have 5 supporters when I had no supporters for so long. But what can you do? These things happen. I do play 14 in a computer search. I am trying to go for consistency. So I'm going to play the Skylar there. I'm going to get the Muscle Band, because the Muscle Band will let Quaking Punch do 100, get me the KO, put me then a prize up, and my opponent will still be locked out of trainers. Now he can use Mewtwo, but I've got my own Mewtwo. He can use Seismitoad, but he's locked out of trainers, and I've got a Muscle Band, whereas he's got a Float Stone attached, so I'm going to win that exchange. Although I've got 30 damage on me, eventually I believe it will work out. and he ends me again to 4, which I'm not terribly worried about, because I've got so many supporters left in my deck after that slow start. I've only used, I think, 2 of them there, but again, I draw into no supporters. But I'm not terribly worried. What I could even do here is attach that DCE, or what I could do is lock him out to energy for 1 more turn, and then actually attach a 3rd water energy next turn to KO his Seismitoad with my 2nd attack. I could put 30 on the Reshiram to make his attack do more, because the big Seismitoad attack means 30 to 2 of your bench, and I could put 30 on that Mewtwo, hoping to draw into a max potion later. So he hits me for 30, and I still have nothing, which is disappointing, but I like my position here. I am a prize up. I've got a muscle band attached to my active, so I'm going to overtake him. At the end of my next turn, I'm going to be on 90 damage. He's going to be on 100. And then I'm going to go up to 120. He's going to go up to 150. I'm going to go up to 150. He's going to die. So I'm winning this exchange and going down to 2 prizes, meaning I've got the luxury of building up bench Pokemon. Now he's also got a Mewtwo on the bench with a DCE attached, so I don't want to put that DCE on Mewtwo. DCE, Muscle Band or Laser, plus a Lysandre, and he can KO my Mewtwo. So I've still got no supporters here, but I'm going to do what I said I could do a minute ago. I'm going to use Grenade Hammer. Or at least I've got the ability to use Grenade Hammer. I could just lock him out as trainers and win that way, and it appears that that's what I'm actually going to do here. I'm weighing up my options. I've got the KO with Grenade Hammer, and the only thing he's going to kill my Mewtwo with is his Mewtwo, and then I've got the return KO with my Mewtwo. So I am going to use Grenade Hammer, it looks like. And I can pop 30 damage onto my Reshiram, meaning he'll then hit for 50. And I might as well dump 30 damage onto my Mewtwo, because then I can max potion it off later. No, I'm apparently going for my Seismitoad, because I'm worried about a Lysandre and then a KO on the Mewtwo. That might be a little bit paranoid of me. But similarly, there's nothing on his bench which is going to Lysandre up, not Lysander, and kill my Seismitoad, so I'm fine. So you can see that I've used 3 of my 14 supporters. It won't tell me how many's left. I'm bound to draw into some eventually. So he hits a Tool Scrapper, he hits a Juniper, and we have a look at that Hawlucha quickly. It does 60 to a Pokemon EX for a single energy. So he could hit me for 60 here, but I don't know, it's not really going to do a huge amount of damage. And now, interestingly, playing Garbodor there, Hawlucha's ability actually stops Hawlucha attacking against anything that isn't an EX. But by my opponent playing a Garbodor to shut off his own Hawlucha's ability, he actually is then able to attack non-EXs for 60 damage. So he's played Terrakion there to go down to 3 prizes. I'm really not terribly worried there, because he's either got to play a Lysandre to KO my Reshiram, or he's got a KO to Pokemon EX to win the game there, after KOing my early Reshiram. So I'm really not worried at this stage. I've only got to get 1 more KO on an EX or 1 on a non-EX. And at this stage, I'm just going to start building up my Seismitoad on the bench for a big attack, so I can do a Lysandre KO on one of his bench Pokemon, or even pull up a big KO if he's got an EX in the future. Now, he can attach another energy to that Landorus and attack, but that Landorus isn't that Terrakion isn't lasting very long. If I can hit a laser, then that Terrakion goes down next turn, and he's put a lot of resources into that Terrakion. Now, if I see correctly, he's got 2 strong energy on there, meaning he does 130, so I'm not dead yet. Now, annoyingly, still no supporters, and you see now I've hardly had supporters all game after the slow start and then the drawing poorly off the end. But I suppose one thing this is showing us about these Seismitoad decks is that I'm slowing him right down. I've got some Pokemon on the bench, although I haven't drawn supporters or even real good trainers, I've been drawing energy, so I'm keeping my attacks going. I'm attacking every turn. Now, what I've actually done is chosen to retreat there into the Reshiram, just to really buy myself a turn. Now, hopefully what's going to happen here is he's going to KO my Reshiram, I'm going to finally draw into something, and then I'm going to be able to KO that Terrakion, or pull something off the bench and KO it. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is a silly play on his part. He knows I've got a Mewtwo on the bench. He doesn't know if I've got a laser or a muscle band in hand. Not only that, but my opponent knows I haven't played a supporter for a while. He knows I've got a bunch in my deck. Play in the end, not a bad play, but again, there's so many supporters in my deck that the chance of me hitting a DCE, muscle band or laser are pretty good. Now I've got the Colress there. You'll see I've got played one DCE in the discard, one laser, couple of muscle band. So statistically I'm going to hit it here, and I do, and that's the game. And I even get to max potion, that for good luck. Now I can see what my opponent was doing there. He was doing the classic, I'm going to bring up a Mewtwo with a bunch of energy, I don't think you've got anything, I'm going to end you to 2, and that's going to win me the game. And it's not a terrible play. But the thing I want to make you aware of in that game was I had played very few supporters. My opponent knew I had a bunch of supporters left, or at least should have known, and by going with a big Mewtwo play, when I had a Mewtwo on the board, he should have known that there was a decent risk of that happening. So I hope that was interesting to you. As always, like, subscribe, comment, and I will be back soon with more videos featuring Seismitoad.